marked by wars and unresolved disputes. Today, the stakes are higher than ever. Both countries possess nuclear weapons. A single miscalculation could lead to unimaginable destruction. The world watches, knowing a spark here could ignite a global crisis. Along the mountainous line of control, soldiers face each other daily, always on high alert. This is not a peaceful border. It's a flashpoint where survival is a daily challenge. For millions living nearby, the threat of conflict is constant. Any small incident can escalate rapidly. A skirmish could become a battle could become a war. And in this region, war could mean nuclear catastrophe. This simulation explores that nightmare scenario. What happens if the tightrope snaps? We'll walk through a hypothetical conflict, step by step. This isn't about taking sides, but understanding the brutal reality of modern warfare. It's about how quickly things can spiral out of control. The survival of millions is at stake. Understanding these dangers is the first step to avoiding them. The environment is tense, the risks enormous. The world hopes for peace, but must prepare for the worst. This is a journey into the heart of a rivalry on the brink. The consequences of failure are too great to ignore. In the midst of the conflict, Pakistan suffers a significant blow, losing 5 jets in a single engagement, escalating tensions even further. International leaders react swiftly. Donald Trump calls for restraint but hints at U.S. support for de-escalation. Turkey voices solidarity with Pakistan, while Iran urges both sides to avoid catastrophe. Israel, meanwhile, issues a stern warning about the dangers of nuclear escalation, emphasizing the need for global vigilance. Behind the scenes, political maneuvers intensify. Alliances are tested, statements made, and the world's attention remains fixed on South Asia. Let's see what happens when the unthinkable becomes reality. Our simulation begins with a border incident at the line of control. An outpost is attacked. Both sides blame each other. The truth is lost in accusations, but the consequences are immediate. Media on both sides inflame public anger, demanding action. Leaders face immense pressure to respond with force. Artillery fire erupts, escalating the skirmish into a sustained duel. Civilians flee, becoming the first wave of refugees. Diplomatic channels close as governments issue harsh statements and recall ambassadors. Military commanders are authorized to escalate. Fighter jets are scrambled, launching precision strikes along the border. The conflict has crossed a point of no return. Air power is now in play, and the world holds its breath. The localized clash has become a full-scale war. The region is plunged into chaos. Survival now depends on skill, courage, and luck. The door to peace is nearly shut. The war machine is in motion. The stakes have never been higher. The world watches, hoping for restraint. But the path ahead is dark and uncertain. The crisis has become a catastrophe. The countdown to disaster has begun. The air war erupts. Technology, speed, and pilot skill decide the skies. India deploys Su-30 MKIs and Rafales. Pakistan counters with F-16S and JF-17S. Both air forces are highly trained, turning the border into a deadly arena. The first goal, air superiority. Control the sky and you control the battlefield. Long-range missiles and advanced radars make every mission a gamble. Surface-to-air missile systems create deadly no-fly zones. Pilots must evade, outsmart, and survive. Airplanners hunt for gaps in enemy defenses, using anti-radiation missiles to target radars. The air war isn't just jets versus jets. Strategic targets are hit with cruise missiles. Key infrastructure is destroyed. Radar stations, command centers, communication hubs. The goal is to blind and deafen the enemy. Air raid sirens become a daily reality for civilians. The psychological toll is immense. The war is no longer confined to the front lines. Cities and civilians are now in the crosshairs. The conflict has become total. The skies are a battlefield with no sanctuary. As the air war rages, a silent battle unfolds at sea and in cyberspace. The Indian Navy, larger and more powerful, moves to blockade Pakistan's ports. Cutting off Karachi would cripple Pakistan's trade and war effort. Pakistan's Navy relies on submarines and fast attack craft for hit-and-run tactics. Submarines stalk the Indian fleet, threatening with torpedoes. The Indian Navy hunts them relentlessly, knowing one could cause massive damage. At the same time, cyber warfare erupts. Hackers target government systems, power grids, and financial networks. The goal: chaos, confusion, and disruption. Disinformation spreads, sowing panic and mistrust. Electronic warfare jams communications and blinds radars. Special aircraft disrupt enemy command and control. In modern war, if you can't communicate, you can't fight. Both sides battle for control of the electromagnetic spectrum. Information is as valuable as firepower. The invisible war is as critical as the battles on land, sea, and air. The side that sees and talks while blinding the enemy gains a decisive edge. The conflict is everywhere, visible and invisible. The war is total, and no domain is safe. Victory depends on dominance in every arena. With air and sea battles raging, the ground war erupts. Indian forces launch major offensives in Punjab and Rajasthan, spearheaded by tanks and infantry. Pakistan's defenses are ready: minefields, anti-tank ditches, and ambushes. Brutal, close-quarters combat unfolds. Tank crews and infantry fight for every inch. Drones provide real-time intelligence and strike with precision. Artillery and missiles pound enemy positions. Short-range ballistic missiles escalate the destruction, targeting bases and cities. The risk of misinterpreting a missile strike as nuclear is ever present. The battlefield is a lethal, chaotic landscape. Survival is measured in seconds. The fear of escalation hangs over every decision. The ground war is relentless and unforgiving. The line between victory and disaster is razor thin. The world watches, fearing the next step. As the war intensifies, the world fears the unthinkable: nuclear escalation. The UN and global powers demand a ceasefire, but the threat remains. India's no-first-use policy is tested. Pakistan reserves the right to strike first. Intelligence reports suggest tactical nuclear weapons are being moved. The world's capitals are on edge. Leaders face impossible choices: military victory or global catastrophe. A single misstep could trigger nuclear war. The American president intervenes, warning both sides not to cross the line. The survival of millions hangs in the balance. The abyss is closer than ever. The world holds its breath. The next decision could change history. The nuclear question overshadows everything. Overwhelming international pressure forces both sides to seek a way out. The war has stalled, casualties and costs are staggering. Secret talks begin, mediated by a neutral country. Neither side wants to appear weak, but both know the alternative is disaster. A ceasefire is finally agreed upon. Soldiers hold their positions, but the silence is uneasy. Isolated violations threaten the fragile peace. International observers monitor the front lines, calming tensions. Slowly, the guns fall silent. The fighting stops, but the war is not truly over. Armies remain dug in, facing each other across a devastated landscape. The line of control is unchanged. The issues that started the war remain unresolved. The ceasefire is a pause, not a peace. Tension remains high. The risk of renewed conflict ever present. The border is more militarized than ever. The wound is not healed, only bandaged. Survival is fragile, and peace is still out of reach. In the aftermath, the true cost of war is revealed. There are no victors, only survivors. Thousands are dead, wounded, or missing. Families are shattered. Soldiers return home scarred, not celebrated. The economic devastation is immense. Billions lost, economies ruined. Infrastructure is destroyed. Towns and fields are left in ruins. Millions are displaced, living in refugee camps. The environment is poisoned, the land scarred. The rivalry is deeper, trust is gone. Both sides claim lessons learned, but nothing is resolved. The only achievement proof of mutual destruction. The war has solved nothing, only deepened the wounds. The struggle for survival continues. The cost of conflict will be felt for generations. There are no parades, only funerals. The world sees the price of war. In the end, there are only survivors left to pick up the pieces. Remember, this is a simulation, a warning, not a prediction. The goal is to understand the consequences of escalation. A small incident can spiral into total war. Each step up the ladder makes it harder to turn back. Modern warfare is chaotic, costly, and devastating for all. Civilians suffer most. Economies and societies are shattered. There are no true winners, only survivors. The lesson dialogue and diplomacy are essential. The real challenge is preventing war, not winning it. Building trust and keeping communication open is vital. The simulated conflict is a path we must avoid. The survival of millions depends on our capacity for peace.